She was just an ordinary teenager in row 9, heading home after a normal visit. But when both pilots collapsed at 35,000 feet, the radio crackled with a voice calling her secret code name. Only one person knew it. Now, she had to land the plane or everyone would die. Before you watch full story, comment below from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. Maya Chen was 15 years old and sitting in seat 9C on flight 405. She wore a simple blue hoodie and jeans. Her black hair was tied in a messy bun. She looked like any other teenager traveling alone. Nobody knew that in 90 minutes, she would have to do the impossible. The flight from Seattle to Los Angeles was supposed to be easy. It was a Saturday morning in April. The weather was perfect. Maya was going home after spending spring break with her uncle in Seattle. Her uncle was not an ordinary person. He was Captain David Chen, a former Navy pilot who had flown fighter jets for 20 years. After retiring from the Navy, he became a flight instructor. For the past 5 years, every time Maya visited him, he taught her about flying. At first, it was just for fun. Uncle David had a small plane, and he would take Maya up in the sky. He showed her how to hold the controls. He explained how planes stayed in the air. He taught her to read instruments and understand weather patterns. But as years passed, the lessons became more serious. Uncle David built a flight simulator in his garage. It was not a game. It was real training equipment. He made Maya practice for hours. She learned emergency procedures. She practiced bad weather landings. She studied engine failures and system problems. "Why do I need to know all this?" Maya asked him once. "I'm just a kid. I'm not going to be a pilot." Uncle David looked at her seriously. "You never know when knowledge will save your life. Or someone else's life. A prepared mind is a powerful thing." Maya remembered those words as she sat in row 9. She pulled out her phone and texted her uncle. "On the plane. Landing in 2 hours. Thanks for the awesome week." Her uncle replied quickly. "Fly safe, Phoenix. Remember everything. Phoenix." That was his code name for her. He started calling her that 3 years ago. "The phoenix rises from ashes," he told her. "It's strong and brave. Just like you." Maya smiled and put her phone away. She closed her eyes and tried to sleep. In the cockpit, Captain Richard Torres was having a normal day. He was 48 years old. He had been flying commercial planes for 22 years. Next to him sat First Officer Amanda Wells. She was 35 with 12 years of experience. "Beautiful morning," Amanda said. "Perfect," Captain Torres agreed. "Should be smooth all the way." They were at 38,000 feet. The autopilot was on. All systems were working perfectly. It was exactly the kind of flight pilots loved. Boring and safe. Then something went wrong. Captain Torres smelled it first. A strange burning smell. He looked at Amanda. "Do you smell that?" Amanda sniffed the air. "Yes." "Electrical burning?" They both looked at the instrument panel. Everything looked normal. But the smell was getting stronger. Then smoke started coming from behind the panel. "We have a fire," Captain Torres said. He grabbed the fire extinguisher. Amanda took control of the plane manually, switching off the autopilot. Captain Torres sprayed the extinguisher behind the panel. The smoke got thicker. The cockpit started filling with gray smoke. "It's not working," Amanda said. Her voice was tight with fear. More smoke poured out. The electrical fire was spreading. Warning lights started flashing on the panel. Systems were failing one by one. "We need to land now," Captain Torres said. He grabbed the radio, but it was dead. The fire had damaged the communication system. "Try the backup radio," Amanda said. Captain Torres switched to the backup system. Also dead. They had no way to call for help. The smoke was getting worse. Both pilots started coughing. Their eyes were burning. They could barely see the instruments. "We need to get this plane down," Captain Torres said. "But I can't see anything." Amanda was coughing hard. The smoke was toxic. She felt dizzy. "I can't breathe properly." Captain Torres tried to stay focused, but the smoke was too much. His vision was blurring. He felt weak. The toxic fumes were poisoning them. "Amanda, I don't think I can do this," he said. "Me neither," she whispered. She was barely conscious. Both pilots were failing. The plane was flying on autopilot, but the autopilot was damaged. Soon it would fail too. When that happened, the plane would fall from the sky. In the back of the cockpit was an emergency oxygen system. But both pilots were too weak to reach it. They were slumping in their seats, barely conscious. The lead flight attendant, Jennifer Park, noticed something wrong. The cockpit door had a small window. She looked through it and saw smoke. "Oh no," she whispered. She grabbed the intercom. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have an emergency situation. If anyone on this plane has any flight experience at all, please press your call button immediately." 147 passengers looked around. Nobody moved. Jennifer's voice came back, more urgent. "Please. This is life or death. If you know anything about flying planes, we need you right now." Still nothing. Maya heard the announcement. Her heart started beating fast. She knew what was happening. Smoke in the cockpit meant fire. Fire meant the pilots might be in trouble. She looked around. Nobody was pressing their call button. Nobody had any experience. Uncle David's voice echoed in her mind. A prepared mind is a powerful thing. Maya took a deep breath and pressed her call button. Jennifer rushed to row 9. "Yes. Do you have flight experience?" Maya looked up at her. "I'm not a real pilot. But I've been training with my uncle for 5 years. He's a former Navy pilot and flight instructor. I know how to fly small planes. I've practiced on simulators for hundreds of hours." Jennifer stared at her. She was just a teenager. This was crazy. "How old are you?" 15. 15. Jennifer's voice cracked. "This is a commercial jet with 147 people on board." "I know," Maya said calmly. "But I'm all you have. And if nobody does something, everyone on this plane will die." Jennifer looked at the other passengers. Nobody else had raised their hand. It was this teenage girl or nobody. "Come with me," Jennifer said. Maya stood up. Every passenger watched her walk to the front. Some looked hopeful. Most looked terrified. When Maya reached the cockpit door, Jennifer opened it. Smoke poured out into the cabin. Passengers screamed. Maya stepped into the smoke-filled cockpit. She immediately understood the situation. Both pilots were unconscious in their seats. The instrument panel was damaged. Smoke was everywhere. Her training took over. She didn't panic. She moved fast. First, she grabbed the emergency oxygen masks hanging behind the pilot's seats. She put one on Captain Torres, then one on Amanda. Fresh oxygen would help them wake up. Then she opened the cockpit's emergency ventilation system. Fresh air started flowing in, pushing some of the smoke out. Maya slid into the empty jump seat behind the pilots. She looked at the instrument panel. Many systems were dead, but some still worked. The basic flight controls were functional. She needed to take control. Maya reached forward and switched the autopilot off. The plane was now under manual control. But both pilots were unconscious. Nobody was flying. I need to get into the pilot's seat, Maya told Jennifer. Together, they carefully moved Captain Torres out of his seat. They laid him on the floor of the cockpit. Maya slid into the captain's seat. Her hands touched the controls. Everything felt real. Heavy. This was not a simulator. This was 147 real lives. Maya looked at the instruments. Altitude, 37,000 feet. Speed, 480 knots. Heading, south. The plane was stable for now, but it wouldn't last. She needed to communicate. The main radio was dead. She checked the backup systems. One backup radio still worked. Maya grabbed the microphone. Her hand was shaking. This is Flight 405. We have an emergency. Both pilots are incapacitated. We need help. The radio crackled. An air traffic controller responded immediately. Flight 405, this is Los Angeles Center. Who am I speaking to? My name is Maya Chen. I'm a passenger. Both pilots are unconscious from smoke inhalation. I have some flight training. I need help landing this plane. There was a long pause. Say again. You're a passenger. Yes. 15 years old. I've been training with my uncle for 5 years. He's a Navy pilot. I know how to fly, but I've never landed a commercial jet. Another pause. The controller was clearly shocked. Flight 405, stand by. Maya waited. Behind her, Captain Torres was starting to wake up from the oxygen. He groaned but couldn't sit up yet. Amanda was still unconscious. The radio crackled again. This time, a different voice. Strong. Calm. Familiar. Flight 405, this is Captain David Chen, retired Navy. I'm a flight instructor. I'm going to help you land this plane. Who am I talking to? Maya's eyes filled with tears. Uncle David? Phoenix? Is that you? Yes. It's me. Her uncle was silent for a moment. Then his voice came back, all business. Okay, Phoenix. We're going to do this together. First, tell me your situation. Maya took a deep breath. Altitude 37,000 feet. Speed 480 knots. Heading 180. Autopilot is off. I'm flying manually. Both pilots are down from smoke inhalation. Electrical fire damaged many systems. Main radio is dead. I'm on backup. Good report. Now, what's your fuel status? Maya looked at the fuel gauge. About 40%. Maybe 90 minutes of flying time. Perfect. That's plenty. Now listen carefully. You're about 150 miles from Los Angeles. We're going to bring you straight in. Can you see the instruments clearly? Yes. The smoke is clearing. Excellent. First step, reduce altitude. We need to get you down to 10,000 feet. Do you remember how to descend? Yes. Reduce throttle and adjust the pitch. Correct. Do it slowly. Reduce speed to 350 knots. Descend at 2,000 feet per minute. Nice and gentle. Maya's hands moved to the controls. She pulled back the throttle levers. The engines quieted. Then she pushed the control column forward slightly. The plane's nose dipped down. She watched the vertical speed indicator. It showed a descent of 2,000 feet per minute. Perfect. I'm descending, Maya reported. 2,000 feet per minute. Speed reducing to 350. Beautiful, Phoenix. You're doing great. Behind Maya, Captain Torres was sitting up now. He looked at Maya in the captain's seat. His brain couldn't process what he was seeing. A teenage girl was flying his plane. What's happening?" he whispered. "Both of you passed out from the smoke," Jennifer explained. "She's landing the plane. She has flight training." Captain Torres tried to stand up, but he was too weak. "I need to take over." "You can't even stand," Jennifer said gently. "She's our only chance." Captain Torres looked at Maya. The girl was calm. Her hands were steady on the controls. She was talking to someone on the radio, following instructions. "Who's guiding her?" he asked. "Her uncle. A Navy pilot." Captain Torres closed his eyes. A 15-year-old girl and a voice on the radio. That's all that stood between 147 people and death. But what choice did they have? Uncle David's voice continued guiding Maya. "Phoenix, you're now at 25,000 feet. Continue descent to 10,000. When you reach 15,000, I want you to reduce speed to 250 knots. Understood." The plane descended through the clouds. Maya kept her eyes on the instruments. Altitude. Speed. Heading. Just like practice. "Uncle David, I'm scared," Maya admitted. "I know, sweetheart. Fear is natural. But don't let it control you. You've done this 1,000 times in the simulator. This is just one more time. The plane wants to fly. You just need to guide it. What if I make a mistake? Then you correct it. That's what flying is. Small corrections. Small adjustments. You're not aiming for perfection. You're aiming for good enough. And good enough will save everyone." Maya felt herself calm down. Her uncle was right. She could do this. 15,000 feet, she reported. Reducing speed to 250. Perfect. Now, I want you to look ahead. Can you see the ground? Maya looked out the windscreen. Below the clouds, she could see land. Buildings. Roads. And in the distance, she saw it. The airport. 2 long gray runways stretched across the flat ground. They looked tiny from up here, but they were her target. "I see the airport," Maya said. "Good girl. That's where we're going. Los Angeles International. Runway 25 left. The longest runway in the airport." The air traffic controller's voice came on. "Flight 405, all other aircraft have been cleared. You have priority. The airport is yours." "Thank you," Maya said. Uncle David continued. "Phoenix, you're now 50 miles from the airport. Descend to 5,000 feet. Maintain speed at 250 knots." Maya made the adjustments. The plane descended lower. She could see more details now. Cars on the highways. Ships in the ocean. The city spreading out below. In the cabin, passengers were silent. They knew something serious was happening. Flight attendants had told them a passenger was flying the plane. Some people were praying. Others were crying quietly. Everyone was scared. A little boy in row 12 asked his mother, "Is the plane going to crash?" His mother held him tight. "No, baby. We're going to be okay." But she didn't sound sure. Uncle David's voice was steady in Maya's ear. 25 miles out. Descend to 3,000 feet. Start slowing to 200 knots. This is your approach speed. Maya pulled back more on the throttle. The plane slowed. She adjusted the pitch to maintain a steady descent. Behind her, Amanda was waking up. She saw Maya in the captain's seat and tried to understand what was happening. "I'm First Officer Wells," she said weakly. "What's going on?" "I'm Maya. I'm landing the plane. You and the captain were unconscious. You're a child. I know. But I'm trained. Just rest." I've got this. Amanda wanted to argue, but she was too weak. She could only watch and pray. 15 miles, Uncle David said. Time to configure for landing. Do you remember the steps? Maya's mind went through the checklist. Landing gear down. Flaps extended. Speed reduced. Exactly. First, landing gear. Find the gear lever. Maya's hand went to the large lever on her right. She took a deep breath and pushed it down. A loud mechanical sound filled the cockpit. Whirring. Clunking. Then 3 green lights appeared on the panel. 3 green lights, Maya reported. Gear down and locked. Excellent. Now extend flaps to 5 degrees. Maya moved the flap lever. The plane's nose dipped slightly as drag increased. She adjusted to compensate. Flaps 5. Speed 190 knots. Good. 10 miles out. Extend flaps to 15 degrees. Slow to 170 knots. Maya continued the configuration. The plane was getting heavier, more sluggish. That was normal for landing. 5 miles, Uncle David said. You're cleared to land. Extend full flaps. Reduce speed to 140 knots. That's your landing speed. Maya set full flaps. The plane settled into its final approach. She could see the runway clearly now. It looked huge. White markings. Red lights on the sides. I see the runway, Maya said. Perfect. Now comes the important part. You need to follow the glide slope down. Look at your navigation display. You should see a diamond symbol. Maya looked at the screen. A pink diamond was moving on the display. I see it. Keep that diamond centered on the line. If it goes up, you're too low. If it goes down, you're too high. Small adjustments only. Maya watched the diamond carefully. It drifted slightly high. She reduced throttle a tiny bit. The diamond moved back to center. 3 miles. You're looking perfect, Phoenix. The runway was filling the windscreen now. Maya could see every detail. The numbers painted on the pavement. The tire marks from hundreds of previous landings. Her heart was pounding. Her hands were sweating. But they were steady. 1 mile. When you're about 50 feet above the ground, you're going to flare. That means gently pull back on the controls. It lifts the nose and slows your descent. You'll land on the main wheels first, then the nose wheel. I'll tell you when. Okay. Maya's whole world was now the runway. Nothing else existed. Just the numbers dropping on the altimeter. 500 feet. 300 feet. 100 feet. 50 feet. Flare now, Phoenix. Gentle pull. Maya pulled back on the control column. The plane's nose lifted slightly. The ground rushed up. The main wheels touched down with a thump. Then the nose wheel settled. Another thump. They were on the ground. Brakes. Uncle David shouted. Press the top of the rudder pedals. Maya pressed down hard. The plane's brakes engaged. Thrust reversers deployed automatically, roaring loudly. The speed dropped rapidly. 80 knots. 60 knots. 40 knots. 20 knots. The plane rolled to a gentle stop halfway down the runway. Maya sat frozen. Her hands were still gripping the controls. She couldn't move. They were alive. Everyone was alive. The radio exploded with voices. Cheering. Congratulations. Her uncle's voice cut through everything. Phoenix, you did it. You just saved 147 lives. I am so proud of you. Maya started crying. All the fear, all the pressure, it came flooding out. Behind her, Captain Torres was crying too. "Thank you," he whispered. "Thank you for saving us." Emergency vehicles surrounded the plane. Paramedics rushed aboard. They helped Captain Torres and Amanda off the plane. Both would be fine after some oxygen and rest. Maya stayed in the cockpit, unable to stand. Her legs felt like water. Jennifer came in and hugged her tight. "You're a hero. A real hero." When Maya finally walked into the cabin, every single passenger stood up. The applause was deafening. People were crying, laughing, reaching out to touch her as she passed. The little boy from row 12 ran up to her. "You saved us. You're like a superhero." Maya knelt down to his level. "Not a superhero. Just someone who was ready." Outside, her uncle was waiting. He had driven to the airport at high speed. When Maya came down the airplane stairs, she ran into his arms. "I was so scared, Uncle David." "I know. But you didn't let fear stop you. That's what courage is." The next few days were crazy. Maya's face was everywhere. News channels. Social media. Newspapers. Teen hero lands jet. 15-year-old saves 147 lives. But Maya didn't want to be famous. She just wanted to go back to normal life. The FAA investigated the incident. They found that Maya had performed perfectly. She had followed all correct procedures. The fire had been caused by a faulty electrical component. It wasn't anyone's fault. Captain Torres and Amanda sent Maya letters thanking her. Several airlines offered to train her for free when she turned 18. Aviation schools wanted to give her scholarships. But Uncle David gave her the best advice. Finish high school first. Be a kid for a few more years. The sky will wait for you. Maya agreed. She went back to school. She tried to be normal. But everyone knew who she was. Teachers treated her differently. Students asked for her autograph. It was overwhelming. One day, she got a letter from a 10-year-old girl named Sophie. "Dear Maya, I saw you on TV. You're my hero. I want to be a pilot like you. But my family can't afford flying lessons. How did you learn? Please write back. Love, Sophie." Maya showed the letter to her uncle. "There are probably thousands of kids like Sophie," he said. "Kids who dream of flying but can't afford it. What can we do?" Maya asked. Uncle David smiled. "We can teach them. Just like I taught you." Together, they started a non-profit organization. The Phoenix Flight Academy. They offered free flight training to kids who couldn't afford expensive lessons. Uncle David taught the classes. Maya helped when she wasn't in school. They started with 10 students. Word spread. Soon they had 50. Then 100. Other retired pilots volunteered to help. Companies donated simulator equipment. The academy grew. Sophie was one of the first students. She was serious, dedicated, and talented. She reminded Maya of herself. Years passed. Maya graduated high school. She went to college and studied aerospace engineering. But she never stopped teaching at the academy. On her 18th birthday, Maya took her commercial pilot exam. She passed with perfect scores. She was officially a pilot. Airlines competed to hire her. She chose Pacific Airlines, a company that valued safety and training. She started as a first officer on regional jets. By age 21, Maya was a captain. The youngest in the airline's history. But her real passion was still the academy. She taught there every week. She shared her story with students. She prepared them for emergencies they might never face. "You might fly for 40 years and never have an emergency," she told one class. But if it happens, you need to be ready. Knowledge is power. Training saves lives. One student raised his hand. Were you scared when you landed that plane? Terrified, Maya admitted. But my training was stronger than my fear. My uncle had prepared me. When the moment came, I knew what to do. Sophie graduated from the academy at age 16. She got her pilot's license at 18. By 23, she was flying for a major airline. Many of the academy's graduates became pilots. Others became engineers, mechanics, and air traffic controllers. They spread across the aviation industry, all carrying the same principles: preparation, calm under pressure, and dedication to safety. Maya kept flying. She logged thousands of hours. She flew to cities around the world. But she never forgot where she came from. Row 9. A scared teenager who had to do the impossible. Sometimes, when she was in the cockpit preparing for flight, she thought about that day. The smoke. The fear. The weight of 147 lives. She thought about Uncle David's voice guiding her down. The plane wants to fly. You just need to guide it. Those words had saved her. Now she used them to save others. Not by landing planes in emergencies, but by teaching the next generation. By preparing them. By giving them knowledge and confidence. At age 25, Maya received an award from the Aviation Safety Foundation. She was recognized for her heroic landing and her work with the Academy. At the ceremony, she gave a speech. 5 years ago, I was just a kid in row 9. I wasn't special. I wasn't a hero. I was just a teenager who had been taught well. My uncle gave me knowledge. He gave me skills. He gave me the confidence to act when others couldn't. She paused and looked at the audience. There are thousands of kids out there with the same potential. They're sitting in classrooms. They're dreaming of flying. They're capable of amazing things. But they need someone to believe in them. Someone to teach them. Someone to prepare them. That's what the Phoenix Flight Academy does. We don't just teach flying. We teach courage. We teach preparation. We teach kids that they're capable of more than they know. The audience applauded. After the ceremony, a young girl approached Maya. She looked about 12 years old. Hi, I'm Emma. I want to join your academy. But I'm scared. What if I'm not good enough? Maya knelt down to look Emma in the eye. You know what my uncle told me? He said everyone feels scared. Fear means you understand how important something is. But don't let fear stop you. Let it motivate you. Did you feel scared when you landed that plane? Every second, Maya admitted. But I did it anyway. That's not because I'm special. It's because I was prepared. And preparation beats fear every time. Emma smiled. Okay. I'll join. Good. I'll see you in class next week. Emma ran back to her parents, excited. Uncle David walked up beside Maya. He was 70 now, older but still strong. You remind me of myself when I was your age, he said. Really? Yes. Full of purpose. Dedicated to teaching. Committed to making flying safer. I learned from the best, Maya said. Uncle David put his arm around her. No, Phoenix. You learned the lessons. But you made them your own. You took what I taught you and turned it into something bigger. Something that helps thousands of people. That's all you. Maya felt tears in her eyes. Thank you for everything, Uncle David. For believing in me. For teaching me. For preparing me. You were always ready, Phoenix. You just needed someone to show you. They stood together, watching the sun set over the airport. Planes took off and landed in an endless cycle. Each one carried people. Each one was flown by a pilot who had been trained, prepared, and made ready for their moment. Maya thought about all the students at the academy. Sophie, Emma, and hundreds of others. One day, one of them might face their own emergency. One day, they might have to do the impossible. And when that day came, they would be ready. Because someone had taught them. Someone had believed in them. Someone had given them the knowledge and confidence to act. Just like Uncle David had done for Maya. The girl in row 9 was gone. In her place stood Captain Maya Chen. Pilot. Teacher. Hero. But Maya never called herself a hero. She was just someone who had been ready when the moment came. And now she was making sure the next generation would be ready too. The phoenix had risen. And it was teaching others to fly. Maya was now 35 years old. She had become one of the most respected pilots in the country. But more than that, she had become a symbol of hope and preparation. The Phoenix Flight Academy had grown beyond anyone's dreams. What started with 10 students in Uncle David's garage now had 5 locations across the United States. Over 2,000 students had graduated from the program. Hundreds of them were now professional pilots. Maya still flew regularly. She was a senior captain for Pacific Airlines, flying international routes. But she made time every week to teach at the academy. Teaching was not just her passion. It was her purpose. One cold November morning, Maya received a phone call that changed everything. It was from the hospital. Uncle David had collapsed. He was 80 years old now. His heart was failing. Maya rushed to the hospital. She found him in a bed, connected to machines. But he was awake and smiling. "Phoenix," he said weakly. "You came." "Of course I came." Maya held his hand. "You're going to be fine." Uncle David shook his head gently. "No, sweetheart. My time is coming. And I'm ready." "Don't say that. You're strong. You'll recover." "Maya, listen to me." His voice was soft but firm. "I've lived a full life. I flew jets. I taught hundreds of students. I watched you become the amazing woman you are. I have no regrets." Tears rolled down Maya's face. "I'm not ready to lose you. You won't lose me. I'll always be with you. Every time you fly. Every time you teach. Every time you call yourself Phoenix." He paused to catch his breath. "You know what my greatest achievement was?" "What?" "You. Training you. Preparing you. Watching you save all those people. Then watching you teach others. You're my legacy, Maya. And I couldn't be more proud." Maya couldn't speak. She just held his hand and cried. Uncle David passed away 3 days later. He died peacefully in his sleep. The funeral was attended by over 500 people. Former students. Fellow pilots. Aviation professionals. People whose lives had been touched by his teaching. Maya gave the eulogy. She stood at the podium, looking at the crowd, trying to hold herself together. "My uncle taught me how to fly. But he taught me something more important. He taught me that knowledge is the greatest gift you can give someone. He taught me that preparation saves lives. He taught me that one person can make a difference." She paused, wiping her eyes. 10 years ago, I was just a scared kid in row 9. When the emergency happened, I could have frozen. I could have stayed silent. But I didn't. You know why? Because Uncle David had prepared me. He had given me the tools. He had given me the confidence. He saved 147 lives that day. Not me. Him. Through his teaching. Through his dedication. Through his belief in me. Maya looked at the coffin. "Thank you, Uncle David. Thank you for everything. I promise to honor your legacy. I promise to keep teaching. I promise to prepare the next generation, just like you prepared me. The crowd applauded softly. Many were crying. After the funeral, Maya felt lost. Uncle David had been her mentor, her teacher, her inspiration. Without him, she didn't know how to move forward. But then she remembered something he had told her years ago. When I'm gone, don't stop. Keep flying. Keep teaching. That's how you honor me. So Maya did exactly that. She threw herself into her work. She expanded the Phoenix Flight Academy even more. She created scholarship programs for underprivileged kids. She wrote a book about her experience, with all proceeds going to the academy. The book became a bestseller. From Row 9 to Captain, a story of courage and preparation, inspired millions of readers. Schools used it in their curriculum. Aviation programs recommended it to students. Maya was invited to speak at conferences, universities, and events around the world. She shared her story everywhere. But she always emphasized the same message: preparation matters, training saves lives, and ordinary people can do extraordinary things. One day, Maya received an email from Sophie, her first student. Sophie was now 30 years old and a captain at a major airline. Dear Maya, something happened on my flight yesterday. We had a medical emergency. A passenger had a heart attack. I had to make an emergency landing at a small airport. It was scary, but I stayed calm. I followed procedures. I remembered everything you taught me. The passenger survived because we got him to a hospital quickly. I just wanted to say thank you. Your training saved his life. You saved his life. Love, Sophie. Maya read the email 3 times. Then she cried. Happy tears this time. This was why she taught. This was why the academy existed. So that when emergencies happened, people would be ready. Over the years, more stories came in. Academy graduates who handled emergencies successfully. Pilots who stayed calm under pressure. Lives saved because of proper training. Each story reminded Maya that her work mattered. That Uncle David's legacy was alive and growing. When Maya turned 37, Pacific Airlines offered her a position as director of training. She would oversee the training of all new pilots. It was a huge honor and responsibility. Maya accepted. But she made one condition: she would continue teaching at the Phoenix Flight Academy. Nothing would stop that. In her new role, Maya revolutionized pilot training. She introduced more emergency simulations. She required psychological training to handle stress. She emphasized the importance of preparation and calm decision-making. Aviation accidents decreased. Safety improved. Other airlines copied her methods. Maya became famous in the aviation industry. But she remained humble. She always gave credit to Uncle David. He taught me everything, she said in every interview. I'm just passing it forward. One afternoon, Maya was teaching a class at the academy. 15 students sat in front of her, eager to learn. One girl in the back raised her hand. Yes, Jessica. Captain Chen, do you still think about that day? When you landed the plane? Maya smiled. Every single day. Are you proud of what you did? Maya thought carefully before answering. I'm grateful. Grateful that I was prepared. Grateful that my uncle taught me. Grateful that I could help. Pride is less important than responsibility. I was given a gift, knowledge. And with that gift came the responsibility to use it and to share it. Another student spoke up. What if we face an emergency and we're not ready? That's why you're here, Maya said. That's why we train. That's why we practice. So that when the moment comes, you will be ready. You might not feel ready. You might be scared. But your training will guide you. She looked at each student. You know what my uncle used to say? He said, "You never know when knowledge will save your life or someone else's life." Those words changed my life. And now I'm sharing them with you. The students nodded, understanding the weight of those words. After class, Jessica approached Maya privately. "Captain Chen, I have a confession. I almost quit the program last week." "Why?" Maya asked, concerned. "Because I don't think I'm good enough. I make mistakes. I get nervous. I'm not confident like you." Maya smiled gently. "Jessica, do you know what I felt when I sat in that cockpit 10 years ago? Pure terror. My hands were shaking. I thought I would fail. I didn't feel confident at all." "Really?" "Really. But I had two things. Training and someone who believed in me. You have the same things. You have us. You have this academy. And I believe in you." Jessica's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you. Don't thank me. Just promise me something. When you become a pilot, pass it forward. Teach others. Believe in them. Help them become ready. I promise." Maya watched Jessica walk away. She saw herself in that girl. The doubt. The fear. The potential. That evening, Maya went to the airport. She walked to the spot where she had landed Flight 405 10 years ago. The runway looked the same. The markings. The lights. Everything. She closed her eyes and remembered that day. The smoke. The unconscious pilots. The fear. And Uncle David's voice guiding her down. "The plane wants to fly. You just need to guide it." Maya opened her eyes and smiled. Uncle David was gone, but his words lived on. His lessons lived on. His spirit lived on. In her. In Sophie. In Jessica. In every student who walked through the academy doors. The phoenix had risen from the ashes. And it had taught thousands of others to rise too. Maya pulled out her phone and looked at an old photo. It showed her and Uncle David standing in front of his small plane. She was 10 years old in the picture. He had his arm around her shoulder. Both were smiling. She whispered to the photo, "Thank you, Uncle David. Thank you for believing in a kid in row 9. Thank you for teaching me to fly. Thank you for showing me that ordinary people can do extraordinary things." The wind blew gently. For a moment, Maya felt like Uncle David was there beside her. She could almost hear his voice. "You did good, Phoenix. You did real good." Maya smiled through her tears. Then she turned and walked back to her car. She had a flight to catch tomorrow. Students to teach next week. Lives to touch. Legacies to build. The girl in row 9 was gone. But the phoenix flew on. Strong. Brave. Ready. And she was teaching the world to fly with her.